This is the Week 6 NFL team map for 2023 here for October 15, 2023. And there's one on October 12, 2023, the Amazon game. So there's an NFL Network game as well. And Denver and Kansas City and Amazon Prime is on Amazon, or you can watch it without Amazon Prime, but you do have to pay to watch it. Or you can or if you are in Denver and Kansas City markets, it'll be simulcast. It'll be simulcast at KMGH ABC7 in Denver and KSHB NBC 41 in Kansas City. Baltimore and Tennessee, that is on NFL Network for everyone, but it will also be on WBAL NBC 11 in Baltimore and WTVF NBC 5 in Nashville for those in Baltimore, Maryland area, in Nashville, Tennessee, and the Green Bay and Pittsburgh are not playing. So CBS, so usually they do it where like the main game, is usually when there's a CBS signal. At least how Fox is they do their number one on like the best game, and then their number two, there's someone else on. I mean, like they have that probably set up a couple weeks in advance, a little bit in advance. But usually they have their number two on the number two, on like the best game, on the number two best game. Usually, this and that. I mean, it doesn't matter what windows they're in, but sometimes they would do, or the best game of the noon window would be number one, and the best game in number two early window, and so on and so forth. Then the most shown game would be like, but now they've done it where the best game, no matter what window, is usually the best announcers. But now CBS signal is actually going to go to Ian Eagle, Charles Davis. The best featured game is Seattle Cincinnati. That's most of the country's going to see in the early window. But they're not going to see that. Ian Eagle, Charles Davis is going to get that game. And then Carolina, Miami. There's a little bit in Atlanta or Alabama that's going to get Carolina. Mainly the Birmingham area, maybe for Alabama fans who want to see Bryce Young. And then Miami, Tampa Bay, and the Miami area. And then Orlando area, Fort Myers, West Palm Beach. And then most of South Carolina, a little bit of Georgia, all of most of them North Carolina, and maybe just a tiny tad in Virginia. They get some North Carolina stations. And then Washington, Atlanta is going to be in Mississippi, most of Alabama. And then most of Georgia, and a little bit of South Carolina, and then most of the Virginia, a little bit of West Virginia, all Maryland, and a little bit of the Philadelphia area, and the Pennsylvania, And then Indianapolis and Jacksonville is going to be Tennessee. I'll have to see a little bit of West Virginia, a little bit of some of Kentucky, about half of Kentucky, most of Indiana, some of Illinois, and a little bit of Missouri, a little bit of Mississippi, and a little bit of Arkansas, and then some of Jacksonville area, and a little bit in Alabama. And then it's Carolina, Miami's Kevin Trent Green, Washington, Atlanta's Andrew Kellen, Tiki Barber, Matt Ryan, Indianapolis and Jacksonville, Spur Deeds, and Marchetta, New England at Las Vegas Lake is Jim Mansuro, and that's the main of Minnesota area, not all Minnesota, but the main Minneapolis area, which gets the Minneapolis station, a little bit of Iowa, a little bit of Wisconsin because they get Minnesota station, and all of them, like Massachusetts, New England, Vermont, Maine, Connecticut, Rhode Island, a little bit of New York, all that Maine area that gets New England Patriots games, and a little bit of Cleveland, Ohio area, Houston, Texas area, New Orleans area, and then most of, not all of them, Nevada, but some of Nevada, most of Nevada, and then a little bit of Los Angeles or California down south, and then a little bit into Arizona, and then all of the San Francisco area and stuff like that. And Alaska's going to get Seattle, Cincinnati, and then Hawaii is going to show Carolina, Miami. And then Fox early, they're going to give it to the featured game. They're going to give to the best game of the day. They're actually going to give it to Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. Is the best game of the day is San Francisco at Cleveland. They're the ones who show where the Super Bowl, and that's the best game of the day. And then Minnesota Chicago is Brandon Gaudin and Robert Smith, and Minnesota Chicago is going to be in Wyoming, a little bit of Illinois, Idaho, a little bit of Montana, and then North and South Dakota, a little bit of Nebraska, all of Iowa, all Minnesota, all of Wisconsin, all of Michigan, most of Illinois, a little bit of Missouri, and most of Indiana. That's mainly because it's NFC North territory area. And there's, Detroit's not playing until late window, and Green Bay is up, so that's why. And then mainly people are Vikings fans in North South Dakota, maybe Wyoming, and that way. And then New Orleans and Houston is all of Texas, a little bit of Oklahoma, a little bit of, not most of Texas, of a little bit of New Mexico, a little bit of Oklahoma, of New Orleans, of Louisiana, because it is New Orleans scheme, and then most of Arkansas, most of Arkansas, or Mississippi, most of Georgia, a little bit of a little bit of South Carolina, a little bit of Florida, and a little bit in all of Georgia, a little bit of Tennessee as well, and a little bit of Kentucky as well for Minnesota and Chicago. And then Fox Slate is going to be, it's going to be split up. Philadelphia and New York Jets is actually going to be the featured game. It was supposed to be the main game with probably Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson. I understand why it's not the featured game anymore. I understand why, though. Why Philadelphia and because it was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers, but now without Brooks, with Aaron Rodgers playing. Now it's just the backup end for the Jets. Zach Wilson. There when Kevin Kluger and Mark Sanchez, and it's good. Mark Sanchez used to play for Jets. It's gonna be kind of cool, to see him, broadcast the Jets game on national TV. So that's pretty cool. And then in the the NFL put Detroit Tampa Bay on as a late game, like a couple weeks ago. But that's not end up being, Fox is not going to end up putting it as a featured game. It is going to be North and South Dakota, some of Minnesota, all North South Dakota, a little bit of Wyoming and Montana, a little bit of Nebraska, not all of Iowa, some of Iowa, almost all of Illinois, some of a little bit of Kentucky and Tennessee, a little bit of Missouri, of Michigan, and a little bit of Indiana and Cleveland, Ohio, and Toledo, Ohio area, and a tiny little bit in the Pennsylvania. They got some Cleveland station, or Peters Cleveland station, and then it's going to be a little bit of Texas, just barely a little bit of Texas, a little bit in Oklahoma, a little bit into Arkansas, of Louisiana, most of Mississippi, all except the Birmingham area of, maybe there must be some, like Jalen Hurts is Alabama player, so that's why they're showing Philadelphia to Jets, which makes sense. The rest of Alabama is going to see Detroit, Tampa Bay, it's the Birmingham area, and then all of most of Georgia, a little bit of South Carolina, and most of Florida, besides the Miami area. And then Arizona, LA Rams is going to be Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma. Oh, and Detroit, Tampa Bay is going to be Emma Mean and Daryl Johnston. And they're really mixing these windows up, like who used to be with each other. We said Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen used to be each other. Used to be, so usually some of these are changed up a little bit. Like Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma must stay the same. Daryl Johnston used to not be the same. Used to be Chris Myers and Daryl Johnston. Brendan Gaughan, Robert Smith stayed the same. And then I believe it was it used to be Amin and Mark Shildroth. That was Chris Myers and Chris Myers and Daryl Johnston split up, and Amin and Mark Shildroth got split up. And for Fox, it's Eugene, Oregon, showing Arizona, LA Rams for whatever reason. And then the Los Angeles area, San Diego area. And then the Phoenix area. And most of Arizona is showing Arizona, LA Rams. And then Alaska and Hawaii is going to get Philadelphia the Jets, Churchill Philadelphia Jets, Fox early. Minnesota and Chicago is going to be in Alaska, and Hawaii is going to show San Francisco, Cleveland. Mainly Alaska and Hawaii, they'll show a lot of preseason games. Unlike for all these teams, NFL teams, like you'll see like they'll show, what I mean? They'll show like a bunch of teams, because fans are like a bunch of teams down there, or people are traveling, visiting Hawaii and stuff like that. Maybe they want to catch their teams, local preseason games. They show a bunch of them, and Alaska and Arizona split them or something. They show them all, all there, most of them there, so. Yeah, that's week 6 here at the TV map. Is there any changes to week 7 here? Well, Thursday night is Jacksonville. That's the only national game that's not on NBC or ABC, Spain, ABC. The buys are Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, New York Jets, and Tennessee. And CBS early, there's only 3: Buffalo, New England, Washington, New York Giants, and Cleveland, Indianapolis. Los Angeles Chargers at Kansas City is probably the best one. Green Bay at Denver, no. Fox singles, Las Vegas at Chicago. Straight out Baltimore. That's a pretty good one. That'll probably be the featured game, because if you don't get a late game, that'll be the featured game for most of the country, probably. Atlanta, Tampa Bay. Although, Atlanta, Tampa Bay will probably take a good chunk area too. Pittsburgh at LA Rams. That's gonna be a good one too. A lot of attention's going to Pittsburgh, LA Rams. For if you get a late game, most of the country's going to opt for if you have to show a late game. They're going to show Pittsburgh, LA Rams, definitely. Or choose to show a late game, or or have to show a late game. They'll show Pittsburgh, LA Rams. And then Arizona at Sea. Most of the time, though, if you're not a national game, they just pick like the featured early window game, and that's it. Then Arizona at Seattle late. That's not going to be the best one. So I'm predicting Pittsburgh Rams is going to take a good bit up of the late windows, most of the late windows, besides, where, if players are at colleges or maybe this and that, or for whatever reason. And then Baltimore's going to take up most of the single, but Atlanta and Bay could take a good swap as well for Fox. This early. The best is probably going to be maybe Buffalo, New England. I don't know. Probably be Cleveland, Indianapolis, to be honest with you, on that one, I think. And then Chargers at Kansas City is obviously an easy choice for the CBS late window.